Good evening, and thank you for joining me on this very unfortunate and consequential day for our democracy. The protests in a 1 square mile area of Los Angeles are not just about the unfair arrests of hardworking immigrants, also known as our friends and neighbors who came here in awe of America and with a will to work. The bigger fear that has gripped this country is that we now have a mad king who will arrest anyone who dissents. Look at who Donald Trump has already arrested or handcuffed to the ground. Hannah Duggan, a circuit court judge in Wisconsin. LaMonica McIver, a colleague of mine, a U.S. Congresswoman from New Jersey. And just today, our senior senator, Alex Padilla from California. And let's not forget, over this weekend, ICE agents detained a U.S. Marshal. They also deported in the last month a 4-year-old American citizen whose only crime was that he was fighting cancer. And the people that this mad king has freed, 1,600 insurrectionists who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, many of whom assaulted police officers. So, what is the difference between these two groups? One was for Donald, and one was against dictatorship. Republicans have screamed for decades about the Second Amendment, but the First Amendment is first because it's our most sacred. Many in this country are sacred. Times have not been this dark. Many in this country are scared, and times have not been this dark in decades. Many of us will be wrongly imprisoned or arrested over the next few years. But what Donald doesn't get is that while he might have the power to take away someone's freedom, he'll never have the right to take away all of our voices. That's the promise of America, and that we surrender to no one. Nobody asked for this. We were told that the president would focus on the most violent in our community, and that I support. But that's not what he's done. He's terrorizing families, farm workers, restaurant workers, day laborers, people who committed no violent crimes in our communities. Nobody asked for this. And the price tag, 134 million of your taxpayer dollars spent in Los Angeles. And how has he treated our troops who have been deployed there? They're sleeping in squalor. They're not on the battlefields of Iraq or Afghanistan. They're in a major U.S. city, and no one asked them to be there. Not the mayor, not the governor. We can do better for them, and we can do better for our community. So what must we do now? Secretary Noem must resign. She has lost the confidence of the American people for the people she has deported and the way that her agents have carried out these deportations and raids. ICE agents, show your faces. If you are standing behind the law, you have nothing to hide. Local law enforcement does not conduct themselves this way. The FBI does not conduct themselves this way. Our ICE agents today look like bank robbers from the 19th century or KGB officers clearing protesters in Moscow. They don't look like America. They should show their faces. And if Kristi Noem will not resign, she should show up before the Homeland Security Committee, where I'm the second most senior member, and answer questions about what happened today with Senator Padilla. Stop terrorizing our families. And for everyday citizens, we are not helpless. This weekend will be one of the biggest rallies across America. It's No King's Day on Saturday. Over 2,000 cities in America will protest peacefully against this mad king as he spends 43 million of your taxpayer dollars to celebrate himself. We are better for this. Nobody asked for this. And only by linking arms together can we come out of this. Again, I thank our local press for your diligent reporting. And with that, I'll turn it over to any of you who may have any questions. I see Lauren Martinez has her hand raised from ABC News 7. Go ahead, Lauren.
Hi, Representative Swalwell. Thank you so much
Of
for
course.
being available to speak with us. Just to play devil's advocate here, what would you say to those who were saying the Senator Padilla was being, political theater, political grandstanding? What would be your reaction to those remarks?
Senator Padilla was doing his job in his own office building. The press conference today, the political stunt that Secretary Noem held was in Senator Padilla's office building. And he has not just a duty, he has an obligation to stand up for his constituents who are being pulled out of their communities by these faceless masked agents. And if Secretary Noem was not going to answer his question, he had a right to elevate his volume and his tone and demand an answer. He did it peacefully. He didn't threaten any of the officers, and he identified himself immediately. And to suggest, as I've seen the FBI and others, that he didn't have security credentials, he was in his own building, and I would hope that they wouldn't let anybody close to the secretary who they didn't feel was unthreatening to the secretary. And so, to me, that is just an excuse that Speaker Johnson and others are putting out there in their own complicity and their own unwillingness to stand up to the administration.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren. Okay, well, we will keep you updated. I know that there's going to be other calls to action by the California delegation and Leader Jeffries in the Democratic caucus. But again, I appreciate your interest and your independence as a free press because democracy, as I see it, is a table that sits on four legs. It's a check by Congress, it's a free press, an independent judiciary, and a town square that's filled with people. The check by Congress is gone, but the free press has shown resilience. The courts, as they ruled today on the National Guard, have shown independence, and the town squares continue to be filled. And so, if those three hold, it can lift up the table of democracy until the midterms when that check on Congress comes. So, I thank you again for your independence in covering this, and I look forward to updating all of you soon. Thank you.